There's just games you can't win, man. You just gotta focus on how well you're playing and what you need to do differently. But some games are just actually unwinnable. That's the bitter truth. There's literally 4 other human beings on your team and 5 literal humans on the enemy team, and that adds a lot of randomness to the mix. All right, here we go. Their invade's kind of shit. I think our level 1's better because of the Ezreal Yuumi. Looks like they have a lot of high win rates. Their Lucian's 75% win rate there. They have 75% win rate Victor, but on the champ, not overall win rates. Normally when you're a high win rate and playing against people though, it's normally a smurf or a booster, so they don't always have a high overall win rate, but they'll have like a really high win rate on that specific champ. Nice. It's always cool. I like how they invaded with an actual dog shit level 1. Their level 1's horrible compared to ours. Compared to Yuumi Ezreal. The enemies got a double kill. They were in my jungle. They definitely warded it up to where I don't want to start on it, because if they invade again, if they late invade, Nunu can easily steal it from me. That's actually something that people like Panzer Dragon and Tarzan do almost every single game, is they'll late invade you, especially with Nunu. His late invade isn't bad because he'll just Q smite your first buff, he'll be level 2, and then they win automatically. So in this case, I chose to start leashless so the enemies didn't know where I was. I started on my wolves, did blue gromp, and then at that point they technically don't know where I am, but since they warded my red side jungle, I mean, they know I started on my blue side. They just don't know if I started my blue. Nunu has 3 main options: either start on my red and then go to his blue side jungle, start on his blue then go to my red, or his final option, just start on his blue side and then go to his red side. Any way he does it, I should be able to take my 3 camps and get to his golems in time. A big part that played into this is look at mid lane. Victor's had lane prio since level 1, level 2. He has my mid laner shoved in. If I go into my red side, I'm going to get 2 man. There's a high chance of that. But top lane, my set has full prio. My set has GP shoved in, and he has Gangplank really low. Pay close attention to the minimap. We see Nunu right there off of a ward we had down, and he's obviously going into my jungle. He can't really gank my mid lane, so he's either going to gank bot, my mid, or most likely invade my jungle. A big reason of why I didn't stay in his jungle is I didn't want to have to deal with their Victor, who has full prio. Not only that, but I was actually streaming this game, so I didn't quite see it happen initially when Nunu ran over the ward. Like, I knew the ward saw him, but I didn't really see where he went. I don't have enough gold to get any really good items, so instead, I'm just going to pick up my Dark Seal and a pink ward. I could have gone for an amp tone, but in general on Evelynn, if you have to choose between a Dark Seal or an amp tome, going for the Dark Seal is a lot better. If you start to get some kills, ganks start paying off, the Dark Soul will allow you to transition into the mid-late game much cleaner than an Amp Tome ever could. My golems are up, meaning he never took them, and they're still level 1. I also see Nunu going mid right now, so I figured at this point my red buff is probably gone since we saw him come over here anyways, and I see he's got a fresh red buff on. That means his red buff is still probably up. That means his red buff is definitely going to be up. He did his blue side and my red side. So my best bet is to path towards my top side, get my wolves, clear into his golems respawning in, and if he does over linger and stay mid and bot, then I can also take his red buff and raptors while I'm still there. With my mid laner not having prio and with my bot lane having 3 des, it puts me in a weird spot. Normally on Evelynn, you want to gank at the end of your clear routes, so you'll be able to gank roughly 2 to 3 times before you're level 6, and those should be solid ganks. In this particular game, I haven't really had a chance to gank, and that's okay. If you do run into these kind of games, you just need to farm up till you're 6. Don't force a gank. If I show up mid, we'll get crushed in a 2v2. If I show up bot, we'll get crushed in a 3v3. If Nunu shows up, and even if I go bot and Nunu isn't there, odds are we're probably not going to get a kill unless the enemies are just super far shoved up. So we're just going to focus on really good clear routes, getting as much CS as possible, and getting level 6. Here we got exactly what we wanted. Nunu's playing off of bot Scuttle, and he's ganking my bot lane again. Pretty big mistake. You don't really want to be spending too much time trying to gank an Ezreal Yuumi. It's a big waste of time. And Nunu's golems are back up. Whichever way you farm, the monsters will spawn in the same order. All the normal monster camps are on a 1.5 minute respawn timer. So I see Nunu bot. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take literally everything while still moving away from him. There's a chance he doesn't back. He might path towards mid and do his red side jungle. So I start on his raptors instead of his golems. So I'm going to start on the closest camp to Nunu since he's still really far away and path away from him. So I get my ward down just in case he recalls. I'm covering that option. Going to take his red and then try to take his golems. I've been up here for a while. Notice how I'm still pulling the golems away from Nunu where it'd be coming from. But I am here for a very long time. I want to get out of here. If Nunu does show up, I'm going to get pinched. So I turn on my sweeper to make sure GP doesn't know I'm here. It's not warded. I'm going to go ahead and set up a recall. So if Nunu did show up, I'm not going to get pinched and I'm going to be safe. I'm not going to stay for every single golem when I've already been in that area for a long period of time. Plus, I hadn't seen Nunu on the map in a while, which is why I thought he recalled, when it turns out he's still just trolling around in the jungle because we saw him with that same ward over there. After pressing tab, you can see he still has just Hunter's Talisman. He literally has no items. He hasn't backed yet, and he has less CS because he has been going in for more ganks than I have. I haven't really gone for ganks. I've just been focusing on trying to get level 6 the most effectively and least amount of risk possible in this given game. Even if I run into Nunu, I could easily fight him since I have items and he doesn't. Drop the charm. I can use my smite to Nimbus speed up, but he flashes over the wall. We're going to get our golems, and at this point, if he doesn't back, he's going to keep falling behind. And if he does back, I still have my item advantage, and I can continue to farm and get level 6. Now that I am level 6, I'm looking to gank a lane. Malzahar is pretty easy, especially if he's about to hit level 6. I don't really want to touch a Yuumi bot until Yuumi's at least level 6 for the snare. Mid's looking like my better option. Victor hasn't backed in a while. He doesn't really have items. There are some pink wards along the way, though, which is going to slow me down. If you do run into pinks, especially if they are in important areas, it's important you stop to break them. If it's a pink ward off in the middle of nowhere, it doesn't matter if you leave it. But if it's going to consistently keep getting in your way, just take the 4 seconds to break it. You're going to be glad that you did. I just saw Nunu again, and I see he still hasn't backed because he's super greedy. So I want to go over, take his raptors, and take his golems again on spawn. If he shows up, I'll solo him. If not, I'll just take his camps right out from under him. I just broke 2 pink wards. They have a pretty good idea. I crossed through mid because I just zoomed through. I didn't really care if they saw me because I knew Victor was out of mana and he wanted to back. And once again, Nunu has just Hunter's Talisman. He can't fight me. So now I can leave 1 raptor so it doesn't respawn. That'll buy me some time. And I can take his golems on top of that. And now since I have ultimate, I can start diving people under turret. This game started off really bad. The enemies got 2 kills right off the bat, and on top of that, they warded up my jungle. They had mid prio, but out of all the bad things that happened off of our jungle routing, we were able to come back into this game. We hit level 6 before the 7-minute 30-second mark. As long as you hit level 6 before 7-minute 30 seconds on Evelynn, you are on the right path to carry. If you're hitting it later than 7-minute 30, that means you're either behind or you're just playing her incorrectly. Normally in dives on Evelynn, you want to be the first one to take aggro. You can swap out with your ultimate, dodge the turret shot instantly, and just do a lot of damage that way. In this case, Gangplank's behind. I do a lot of damage. We could kill him without me needing to ult. Malzahar's almost dead and he's recalling, so I don't really want to go mid. Instead, I'm going to power farm my jungle. My ultimate's up, so I can leave my jungle at any point to gank. Top backed, once again, Malzahar backed, and then he TP'd back. Victor backed. Based on my calculations, Nunu should have backed as well, so I wanted to do a linear clear, but instead, turns out they've been warding my jungle literally this whole game with normal wards and pink wards. Nunu took my raptors, he took my red buff, and he's on my golems. How could he do this? He literally hasn't backed, guys. He still has just Hunter's Talisman. 10 minutes into the game, dude hasn't backed. No joke, 10 minutes. Only reason he could have been in my jungle because he didn't bother to back. When I took his raptors and his golems, I thought he was backing, and then he was just going to go over there and realize he didn't have his camps, but he legit is just in my jungle. He's putting himself super far behind just to put me a little far behind. Those are some of the toughest junglers to play against because if their team is considerably better than yours, then you'll lose by default, and it's super frustrating when that happens because they stab themselves in the leg just to twist your nipple. It's rough, but we're making the most out of it. We're killing him, and we're still taking his camps to trade, so he's really not getting ahead of us. He's just putting us behind in terms of our pathing and the efficiency of where we're walking. Now that my Malzahar's full health, I can easily gank mid, drop my charm, QE, take him out, and if the enemies are CC'd, you can open up with your Q after you have them charmed. Otherwise, it's normally best to blue smite him and hit him with an auto or your E. That way you don't miss your first Q. We saw Nunu was bot just ganking, so I'm going to go ahead and take everything in his jungle. I'm going to take the Raptors, I'm going to take the red, and I would take the golems, but obviously Set is taking those. My ultimate's still down, so I don't want to force a play on Gangplank unless he steps up a bit. The only thing Nunu will be able to get in my jungle if he stays is Raptors, but I figured he would go for Dragon. So at this point, I want to kill Gangplank or I want to get the Herald. I really want to get the Gangplank though. I go up in the bush. I just want to wait for him to step up and then I can charm. Steps up a bit. I charm him, blue smite him, QE, shred into him really hard. Set wasn't really ready for it and he got hit by a barrel slow. And since neither one of us had ulti, we couldn't really kill him. Now that he is chunked though, we can set up a dive play. It seems like their Victor realizes something's going on. Victor doesn't have many items yet, and my ult's coming up though, so he's in a very vulnerable spot. I can hover, go to Victor. Gangplank is obviously typing, time's ticking. I'm going to drop charm, immediately flash, 𝐒𝐿. I figured he wouldn't be able to react in time, and even if he did flash, I would still be able to hit him with the tip of my R. Since he was already missing half health, it gave me exponentially more damage, because remember, Evelynn's ultimate does, it's pretty much 200% more damage if the person is below a third health. So by him already being out of half health, my electrocute and 𝐒𝐿 alone will get him down into the perfect threshold for my ultimate. For those of you wondering why I bothered to W him, since I was going to flash immediately anyways, he didn't have any extra time to react. Plus my W was a powerful slow, so if he did flash and try to walk, he'd be moving so slow that he wouldn't really be able to get out of the range of my R. The enemy still have more kills than us. It's 9-8 right now. So I want to try to play around my best laners. Obviously my bot lane's super far behind. They don't have many turret plates, and Nunu's more prioritizing that area. So I want to try to avoid those 3v3s. I want to try to play around my set. MF foolishly walks up, gets blue smited W. I'm patient with landing it, 𝐒𝐿, and finish her off. MF is their support. MF support actually isn't very troll. It used to be meta at one point, and even right now, if she does manage to get ahead in lane phase, which she is, she was 1 kill, 0 deaths, and 6 assists when I did that. She's actually a bit of a threat. Since we killed her, Herald is absolutely free. I didn't really want to start Herald, as you saw when Set went on it. I didn't want to just stand there, because if the enemies did pinch us like a Nunu MF, we'd be fucked. Because then Gangplank could all Victor potentially roam in on it. So it's just something I wanted to avoid. Whenever Malzahar's ult's up, if the enemy mid laner is squishy, you want to try to gank it. It's just super, super free. If they don't have QSS, they're going to die. QSS is the only way, or Gangplank Orange, to get out of Malzahar ult. So whenever you see it's up, just head over there. Now, if it's a really fed tank mid laner, if it's something like a Garen or a Galio, and if you're both AP like Evelynn Malzahar, you probably can't kill it. But in this case, squishy enemy mid laner, it's free. I see Lucian is dead, MF spot. I want to try to set up a fly trap or kill MF under turret. It is pink warded, unfortunately, so that play is not going to happen. So instead, I'm just going to run down bot and try to pick off the MF. She clearly wasn't paying attention. She tunneled super, super hard on my bot lane, so she didn't see me coming. She has nowhere to go, and we pick up an easy kill. Remember, Lucian was spawning in roughly 10 seconds before I went for that MF. Fortunately, there's 2 pink wards here. If there wasn't, I'd just run over there and kill Lucian with my full setup. So in this particular case, I'm going to have to be more patient and try to flank around it. Victor is also half health, so that is an option. But I really do want the Lucian. I don't cross over into the bush because the bush can't see me from here. So whenever I see Lucian walks up, then I can enter the bush, which is pink warded, by the way. But right now, they literally can't see me because of the wall. I was waiting for Lucian. He ends up going mid. Kind of unlucky and kind of weird since my bot lane's on his turret. My bot lane's really far behind. That Lucian would go mid, but he did. He's probably fed up with us getting ahead, even though he hard won bot lane. I'm going to charm him. Ult over the wall like a big ass flash, land the Q charm, stay on top of him, kill him with my electrocute. I normally try to get Mejai's much earlier in the game. In this particular game, the enemy team had more kills than us for the vast majority of it, and if the enemy team is ahead of you, it's not usually a good idea to rush Mej because you'll end up losing the stack. So in this case, I waited until I had 10 full Dark Seal stacks. Very safe time to buy Mej, and now I'm going to build in a Proto Belt. It's super inexpensive, and it gives a lot of value, especially if you don't want to die after you have your Mejai's. Victor is low on mana, no turret, drop W, blue smite him, go for Lucian while my charm is proccing on Victor, so I don't proc it too early. I do still have R, but there's no one else to really go for. GP's top, MF's under turret, and Dragon is up. So now's actually a really good time to take Dragon while 2 of them are dead. I decide to pull off Dragon when I see Nunu hard engaging. MF's low on health. Nunu no longer has the aftershock. Got my charm on him. Q at max range, finish him off. Flash blue smite the MF, and then hit her with a fat, juicy R. The best thing about playing Evelynn against 4 squishies is you have constant opportunities to get picks as long as you don't allow yourself to fall super far behind early. The worst comp for Evelynn to possibly play against would be double tank with double shield comp. Let's say Maokai top, Leona support, and then they have a Orianna or Lulu mid with a Ivern jungle. It'd be impossible to kill anybody because of the double aftershock tank plus the double shield. They can just stack it on their AD carry or one of themselves, and it's just absolutely unwinnable. If you want to beat Evelynn, run double tank, double shield, and you're never going to lose. I would normally back at this point since I have a lot of gold and no R, but since I have a Yuumi, I can W, QE without even having to let my W proc all the way, and we can still get kills. In this case, Ezreal did finish it off for us, but we were only like 10 damage short. Now that MF's dead, we have a lot of pressure to reposition, to set up another pick, and our ultimate is coming up, so even if one of them's under turret, it's super, super free. Set is splishing My ultimate's almost up, so I'm getting a lot more aggro. Nunu's W is already on cooldown, so I get my W on the Lucian, push him out of the fight. We're going to get turret. We got Nunu low, and I can always heal back up off of my passive. And the moment the enemies are out of position, blue smite, QE, get off of fat R, take down the Lucian. Great R from the Malzahar. There, Victor no longer has flash. MF has no ult. These are the moments where you see enemies start to make a lot of mistakes. They forget just how much Evelynn can heal. Even without the Yuumi, the Evelynn passive is insane. Victor actually steps back up with a quarter HP. Even without the Yuumi ult there's a good chance I could have killed Victor, but people forget how strong the healing is. And with Yuumi, obviously it's amplified, but still, this is why Evelynn is such a pub stomp for solo queue. Whether it's platinum, diamond, or even in challenger, a lot of people either don't understand or they don't respect her healing aspect and they'll overchase. The enemies were all spawning back in. That's why we didn't want to stay in pressure turret. I had no ult, and with them all speeding out of base off of their death, it's just not worth staying. So instead, on the way out, we're going to clear out their camp so they'll have no food to farm, getting ourselves farther ahead, putting them farther behind. Now we have our proto belt and part of our Magi. We're ready to fight. I want to put charm on Victor. Gangplank can orange it anyways. I'm going to QE the Gangplank proto belt into him, proc the charm on the Victor, and kill Gangplank in the same stroke with my R AoE, and then finish off the Victor. Since we got the charm on the Victor, it pulled him towards us, so even though we ulted away, it was still very doable. Obviously, if I didn't have a Yuumi on me, I'd be looking for more solo pick plays. I wouldn't want to be looking to try to necessarily kill both of them. Instead, I'd be looking for more solo-centered plays, charming the same target that I was initially trying to kill for the extra slow or the extra magic penetration. This is a big reason of why I like to W max. It lets you shred through the enemy's front line, so if they do have a big tank, W max not only increases your charm duration, but gives you increased magic pen, shred, which is percent base. So whenever Nunu steps up, we can cut him in half. Unless he has 2 or 3 big MR items, he has absolutely no way of surviving our burst. If you go in for an Emax second, that's just not possible. With multiple enemies being dead, it allows us to take turret and inhibitor for free, and as they step up one at a time, they're gonna die. If they don't step up, we're just gonna continue to take it for free. My ultimate's still down for a very long time. Lucian and MF are freshly killed though. I wanted to kill the Victor underneath turret, but he wiped our minions with one of his lasers, so I just had to let him go. I was really gonna let him go, honestly. I'm telling the truth here, but he ended up staying, and then he thought he was gonna fight us. I have a feeling the enemy teams were flaming each other a lot, because there are several points in this game where multiple of them just stopped moving. Like that point where I killed Gangplank top, he wasn't moving. And when we fought Victor here, it didn't seem like he really reacted. It just seemed like he was probably typing or eating cereal or something. I really enjoyed making and playing this video. I wanted to show you guys a strategy you can use if the enemy team does invade you, if they're killing your teammates a lot early game. Don't let your teammates pressure you into bad ganks. Mute the people you need to mute on your team. And yeah, if you can't gank, just focus on getting level 6. I didn't gank a single time pre-6 this game. Obviously, you're not going to win every game playing that way, but if you're forced to play that way, don't play suboptimally and overgank when you and your teammates are all behind. This game was a lot of fun to win, given the conditions of their mid lane jungle constantly warding my jungle and having to deal with Nunu and coming out on top with the perfect score. 0 Des, I enjoyed it a lot. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Also, check out the second YouTube channel we have. We post a lot of fun videos on there and a lot of educational stuff as well. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.